Hello, my name is Philip Cameron, founder of the Orphans Hands. Our ministry helps kids that have been abandoned and forgotten in the orphanages of Moldova and Romania. It all started 30 years ago when my father asked me to go with him to Romania on a mission trip. While there, in an orphanage, freezing and starving, I found a little boy that the Lord told me I should adopt. I picked him up from his filthy bed and I promised him a promise that only God could help me fulfill. And by His grace I did. 1 year later, that little boy was in my house and he's been with me for 30 years now. My wife and I have had the privilege of adopting Andrew William Cameron for an orphanage in Timișoara. I had no idea that day when I picked up the little boy, I was picking up in proxy hundreds of more kids. And this is the story of what we did and how we've managed to change lives. Caught in the hands of the trafficker, a young girl's life is destroyed. But through grace and mercy and Calvary, and a miraculous place called Vatra Village in Moldova, lives are being changed every single day. This is their story. I hope you enjoy it.
Cătălina, Iuliana, Ana,
Tudor.
Natalie, Cătălina, Ana.
Moldova, the poorest country in Europe, a place torn between the East and the West, stuck between yesterday and tomorrow. This tiny impoverished country has the highest level of alcohol consumption in the world and the highest death rate linked to drinking. Poverty and alcohol is a deadly mix. It breaks the home. It causes unimaginable suffering. It creates orphans. In this corruption-dominated society, orphanages become recruitment factories where girls and boys in the most vulnerable positions are handed over to traffickers as they age out of the system. Lack of opportunity, social support, and severe poverty make these kids desperate to leave their country, hopeful that they will find a more prosperous life elsewhere. But this combination of desperation and hope leaves many of them susceptible to the false promises of recruiters. Moldova is primarily a source country for men, women, and children forced into sex trafficking and forced labor.
My father wanted to kill me.
I grew up in an orphanage because my mother was sent to prison for killing my father.
I had the knife from my father and pulled my beaten mother out of the house so he wouldn't kill her.
I asked God why all of this is happening to my family, and I thought that He forgot about us.
I was supposed to be aborted.
sister used to pick our clothes from the trash.
Yet, in the midst of this sorrow, a miracle is taking place. Orphans are finding hope through the work of the orphans' hands. And because of your generosity, today, Vatra Village is a place of warmth and comfort. Something most of these kids have never known. In these rooms, care and love, hope and healing transforms pain into purpose and loss into life. They are finding their broken hearts healed by God's love, and hope is then turning into action. These amazing kids, once rescued and restored, have an unstoppable desire to return to those whose fears they understand, to reach the ones who are what they once were.
You gave me hope. What an amazing statement from kids that have been abused and abandoned all their life. You saw many faces in that video you just watched, but I want you to meet a brother and sister whose faces we're going to put a name to. Tudor and Anna lived in the most unbelievable poverty. They got their clothes from the trash. They watched their father nearly beat their mother to death on several occasions. They came to us broken, but you gave me hope. Meet Tudor and Anna.
My name is Tudor, and yes, this is my house. My parents were alcoholics, and when they would get drunk, they used to beat my sister and I a lot. Almost all the alcoholics from our village would come to our house, and they would send me to buy wine. Every day when I would come back from school, my mother would not wait for me with food. She was either drunk or beaten by my father. It was really cold in our house. We were hungry and dirty. When other people would see my sister and I on the streets, they would avoid thinking that we could give them lice or scabs. It is very humiliating to remember how my mother would sleep with other men. One night, when my father was beating my mother, I asked him to stop beating her. He got very angry and made me step on an electric power cable. I was so scared. I started to work at the sheepfold when I was 7 years old. The older workers forced us to do heavy physical work. During one summer, I worked for 3 months and I only received $30. The second most frequent place I would visit after school was the landfill. My sister and I would often come here to find clothes and food. We used to clothe ourselves from here. We wanted to buy things and have new things, but we couldn't have that. It was impossible for my father and mother to buy new things for us. I am confident that God was one who saw us and loved us. Now I am happy that I finally have my own bed. I have a room where I can sleep. Because of people like you and because of your generosity, I now have no worries. I don't look for clothes or food at the landfill. I receive it through the grace of God. Thank you. Because of you, I have the opportunity to study and be a good specialist in social work. Through the Orphans' hands, my life was changed radically. I have now the opportunity to have a better future. Thank you.
A broken home that represents so much of the pain and suffering that Tudor and Anna existed through for many years. And today they're safe in our village, Vatra village, in Chisinau, Moldova. When they come to us, they come broken. And we tell them continuously, if you are born, God has a plan. You are not a mistake. I know you've been told that no one wants you, that your father doesn't want you, and your mother doesn't want you. But when we begin to speak faith and love into their hearts, remarkable things happen. Their lives change. And orphans become sons and daughters. Then sons and daughters become missionaries. And the miraculous happens. I want you to meet an amazing young lady called Catalina. She came to us a number of years ago, found Jesus, was filled with the Holy Spirit, and now is an evangelist. She had a camp this last summer, even in the COVID season. She got special permission from the police in her village, and she went back to where she came from and had 60 young people come to hear her preach the gospel. Some of the kids from Vatra village went with her. 60 young people came. 30 were born again and filled with the Spirit. Just a couple of weeks ago, she had a special meeting for all the converts and their friends, and 10 more came to the Lord Jesus. She came from desperate situations. I'll let you meet her now. Her name is Catalina. Watch this.
Hello, my name is Catalina. We're 9 children in the family and I am the oldest. My childhood wasn't very easy for me and for my family. I started to work as a babysitter and cleaning houses for the rich families since when I was 14 years old. My father had to work abroad, most in Russia, for at least 3 months so we'll have what to eat. My mom had to borrow money from the neighbors, friends, relatives, and I thought that God forgot about us. I still remember those nights when the whole family would gather together to pray for the most elementary things, as bread and sugar. I also prayed very much to have the opportunity to go to the university. And I used to think that this would be impossible, because I knew that my family can't afford this. But the most beautiful thing that ever happened to me is when I came in the Orphans' Hands ministry. And here I received everything I needed and wanted. With the help of the Orphans' Hands, my family received clothes, shoes, food. And now I understand why I went through those difficult and painful periods of time. I want to thank to those people who really care about us in little details, because everything I received fits me perfect. Now, I know that I have a family by my side. I thank God to those people who are still listening His calling to help and to take care of us, the ones who are in Moldova.
We have an amazing miracle called Vatra Village, a village of 6 homes right in the center of Moldova. The young men and women that we find, we bring them to these homes, beautiful homes. This village was made originally for rich people to have a summer vacation home near the lake. And we managed to buy it after the deal went bust. And that is where Vatra Village is today. When they come to us, they are broken. But because of love and the gospel in their hearts, we've watched these orphans and desperately poor young kids with no future turn into missionaries. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Not only are we rescuing young people from the trafficker, we are turning them into missionaries. And they continuously go out to the poor and neglected and beaten and broken in Moldova, where families are torn to shreds by alcohol, where families abandon their aged and their children to go to the West for work. And one day, just recently, our kids found a widow. Her name is Valentina. She had a stroke. Her son abandoned her at that point. And she sits in a home with no hope. One day the orphans' hands came and paid her a visit. She hadn't had a bath in 3 years. Watch what love towards an orphan does as the orphan reaches out to be God's hand extended. I want you to meet the widow, Valentina. Isn't that amazing? Valentina's life was changed. She found some friends that were once orphans and broken kids themselves. And through their hands, the orphans' hands, light and love and caring took place. These kids need our help. They need your prayers and support. This last year, because of COVID-19, has been a very challenging year for the Orphans' Hands organization. We have struggled to keep the food and the place going through this tremendous pandemic. And we just asked the Lord how we could share this with people. And we thought, well, we might make a small video to ask folk to pray at this time if they would be a part of a miracle this Christmas. You are blessed living in America. You have been blessed by the hand of God like no other country in the world. And halfway around the world is a country that is broken by alcoholism and communism, where young folk are thrown away on the garbage heap, where countless, hundreds of thousands of kids have been trafficked. We've discovered the secret how to beat trafficking. is buy a bed and a home and an education and the gospel. It is very expensive, very intensive, but the results are miraculous. Vatra Village, this fabulous place of salvation and redemption, needs people just like you to become adoptive parents to these amazing kids, that you can give a gift. A gift of $25 right now would do a tremendous help. If everyone watching this program would just say, Philip, I can help you help these kids with an offering of $25. Or if you'd like to become one of our sponsors at $1 a day, you can change your life for $1 a day. And all the kids you've met and dozens more are waiting for you to say, I'll step in and help. We've just had to open a whole new house. 24 kids came to us, about to be put on the street by the orphanage. And we managed to get them and finish another house in the village. And the picture you're looking at, those kids' faces you're looking at right now, are redeemed just in the last few months and are now staying safe and secure in Vatra Village. I told you at the beginning of this video that I adopted a wee boy 30 years ago. He's our bummer lamb. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before or not, but when a lamb is rejected by its mother, unless the shepherd rescues it, the mother will kick and butt the lamb until it dies. But the shepherd comes and takes it home and feeds it by himself. And of all the sheep in the flock, in the pasture, when that little bummer lamb is put back into that flock, whenever the shepherd comes to the gate of the field, the other sheep may look up, but the bummer lamb runs to the shepherd, because he more than the rest have found the love of God. Watch this very short video about the miracle of our bummer lamb. It's a tremendous book I want to send you for helping us with the Orphans' Hands mission in Moldova. Watch this. A lamb that has been rejected by its mother is called a bummer lamb. Once its mother abandons her lamb, it is forever. The lamb will die broken unless a shepherd rescues it. He takes the lamb into his home, feeds, cares, and redeems the broken animal. When returned to the flock, that bummer lamb never forgets the one who redeemed it. Standing abandoned in a Romanian orphanage, my wife Chrissy and I found a bummer lamb. His name was Andre. This book is the story of how a family made room for a little forsaken bummer lamb. It is the story of us all. We stand redeemed by the care of the Good Shepherd. All of us are bummer lambs. We were all lost and undone without God or His Son. And Jesus, the Good Shepherd, came and found us and rescued us, gave us a name and a hope and a destiny. I'm asking you right now, will you please help me find these bummer lambs that their society has thrown away, whose parents have disowned them with no hope? But your giving today, your prayers today can help me reach more. Help my wife Chrissy and my whole family be part of this magnificent rescue operation where we literally rescue the perishing and care for the dying. Each one of these girls in sex trafficking earns $300,000 a year for their captor. $300,000 a year. Beaten mercilessly, kept on drugs, servicing 50 men a day sometimes, until they die. We have an answer. It's called Vatra Village. But most of all, we have an answer, and it's called Jesus. If you'd like to help us, give a gift of $25 or become part of our $1 a day team, our family, our sponsors, you can change your life for the $1 a day. I'd be happy to send you this brand new book entitled Our Bummer Lamb. I am sure it would change your life. Watch this video as one of our girls sings the theme of this program, I'll Be Home for Christmas.
I am dreaming tonight of a place I love even more than I usually do. And although I know it's a long